the young, and the restless spoilers. Sharon had always been known for her vulnerability, a woman who had endured countless battles with her own demons. But lately, something had changed. She was no longer the fragile Sharon everyone knew. Instead, she had become more calculating, more manipulative. It started small, subtle changes in her behavior, a certain distance in her eyes, but those close to her began noticing. They couldn't pinpoint exactly what was happening, but it was clear, Sharon was planning something. The pretense was simple, a trip to Madison with a group of friends, a casual getaway from the stress of Genoa City. Sharon played her part well, smiling and chatting as if everything was perfectly normal. But behind the mask, she was meticulously orchestrating her next move. The truth was, she didn't want to be with anyone. She craved solitude, a quiet place where she wouldn't be disturbed, where no one would pry into her private world. And more importantly, where she could meet Cameron without anyone suspecting a thing. Sharon chose an obscure hotel in the countryside, far from the bustling life of Genoa. It was remote enough to ensure privacy, yet close enough for her to return if anyone grew suspicious. She didn't want to raise alarms, she simply needed time to figure things out, time to indulge in whatever twisted bond she shared with Cameron. He was dangerous, toxic even, but there was something about him that drew Sharon in. Perhaps it was the thrill of the forbidden, or maybe she was spiraling into a part of herself that even she didn't recognize. Meanwhile, Mariah, Sharon's daughter, was growing increasingly concerned. Her mother's strange behavior hadn't gone unnoticed, and Mariah's intuition screamed that something was off. Sharon's words about Madison didn't quite add up. And so, out of desperation, Mariah had secretly installed a tracking app on Sharon's phone, hoping it would provide some peace of mind. But when the app revealed Sharon's location, Mariah's worst fears were confirmed. Her mother wasn't in Madison at all. She was somewhere else, somewhere far more suspicious. Frantic, Mariah immediately called Nick, her former stepfather and Sharon's longtime confidant. Nick had always been protective of Sharon, even after everything they'd been through. They had shared a complicated history, one marked by love, betrayal, and years of emotional entanglement. Despite it all, Nick still cared deeply for her and for the well-being of their children. When Mariah told him about Sharon's whereabouts, Nick's heart sank. Something wasn't right. Sharon wouldn't lie unless she had a reason, and whatever that reason was, it couldn't be good. "We have to go," Mariah said urgently. "I don't care what excuse she gives us. Something is wrong." Nick agreed, though his mind raced with questions. Why would Sharon lie? What could she possibly be doing? And more importantly, what was Cameron's role in all of this? Nick knew about Cameron's dark history with Sharon. The mere mention of his name was enough to set off alarms in Nick's head. Cameron was trouble, the kind of trouble that didn't just go away. If Sharon was meeting him again, things could escalate dangerously. When Mariah and Nick finally arrived at the small, secluded hotel, it was dusk. The sky was painted in shades of pink and orange, but the beautiful backdrop did little to ease the tension. Mariah's heart was pounding, her anxiety growing with every step. She had imagined this confrontation over and over in her mind, but now that they were here, the reality felt far more daunting. They found Sharon's room easily, too easily. Mariah hesitated for a moment, her hand hovering over the doorknob. She didn't want to believe her mother was involved in something dangerous. But deep down, she knew they had no choice. Nick gave her a reassuring nod, and together, they pushed open the door. Sharon was sitting on the edge of the bed, her face illuminated by the dim light of a nearby lamp. She looked startled, her eyes wide with a mix of surprise and anger. Cameron was nowhere to be seen, but his presence lingered in the air like a ghost. Sharon's expression quickly shifted from shock to rage as she realized she had been followed. "Why are you here?" Sharon demanded, her voice cold and sharp. "Why can't you just leave me alone? Can't I have a moment of peace?" Mariah's heart shattered at the sight of her mother's fury. This wasn't the Sharon she knew. The woman standing before her was angry, defensive, and lost. "Mom, I was worried about you," Mariah stammered, her voice trembling. "You lied about where you were. I just wanted to make sure you were okay." Sharon scoffed, her eyes narrowing. "You think you can just track me? Follow me around like I'm some sort of criminal? I'm your mother, Mariah. I don't need you babysitting me. I'm fine."